What is your recommendation to people in academia in Europe right now that are kind of like, hey, I would like to take what I do and bring it into like a forcing function like a startup? Like what would be your like your framework of thinking, your first recommendations?
Yeah. Well.
I mean, it's hard. I mean,
Good pitch.
what we tried to do really was kind of first principle thinking as to like, okay, what's the real problem? What's the real solution? And kind of really kind of think through the problem really well. Like we didn't actually build any technology, right? Like we were not per se in love with our approach. In fact, like, I think Marcus was like, okay, I need this money. I can build it in 3 months. And I was like, wait on a second, what are we actually trying to solve, right? So, and then kind of we just first talked to customers, right? Like we were first really trying to find the problem that we're trying to solve, try to understand like, what does the solution need to have in order to actually be adopted, and then really build the company from the ground up with that. So start with a really big problem, like be really passionate about that. I think that's fundamental. But then maybe not so much like, okay, in my PhD, I did this small incremental thing, and now I'm trying to build a company out of that.
Honestly, don't overthink. Just do it.
Mhm.
Because the amount of times where we heard people telling us, "Oh, it cannot be done." It's like I think if we get a cent for every time people say it cannot be done, we wouldn't
Wouldn't have needed to fundraise.
No, exactly. And also like fundamentally, right? I always say, when we first started like a bit over 2.5 years ago, people don't understand what we are doing,
Uh-huh.
and now people still don't understand what we are doing. At least they're excited about what we're doing.